Hello there, my name's Cademan David, and I'm the mastermind behind the animations on this YouTube channel. But also, I am interested in the idea of independent media, and that's independent films, independent comic books, right? Outside of a large organization, people telling stories. Um, which is becoming more and more popular by the day. So I wanted to give you a look at um, this video I found of one of the artists I respect the most, and that is Rod Serling. Rod Serling, creator of The Twilight Zone. Um, brilliant man. Absolutely one of the great people, one of my biggest inspirations. I absolutely love The Twilight Zone. I absolutely love the things that Rod Serling has said. Um, and uh, I really think, I'm sort of disappointed that Rod Serling isn't still around because he is one of those people that I would just love to meet. He's been a huge inspiration to me. But yeah, Rod Serling, absolutely brilliant. Twilight Zone, absolutely brilliant show. Um, and for reasons that I feel people don't even recognize because a lot of uh, a lot of the episodes of the Twilight Zone that a lot of people are talking about are like the most scary or the most like interesting sci-fi premise. But um, where the show was actually on fire was in its most philosophical episodes. I absolutely love the philosophy within the Twilight Zone. Anyway, this is um, this is a talk from Rod Serling on censorship. So let's hear that, and I'll give you my thoughts.
Well, we hear a lot about censorship of the writer on TV. We've heard a good deal about it in your own case especially.
Well, depending, of course, on the thematic treatment you're using, if you have the temerity to try to dramatize a theme that involves any particular social controversy currently extant, then you're in deep trouble.
For instance?
A racial theme, for example. The case in point, I think, a show I did for the Steel Hour some years ago, 3 years ago, called Noon on Doomsday, which was a story which purported to tell what was the aftermath of the alleged kidnapping in Mississippi of the Till Boy, the young Chicago Negro. And I wrote the script using black and white initially. Then it was changed to suggest an unnamed foreigner. Then the locale was moved from the South to New England, and I'm convinced they'd have gone up to Alaska or the North Pole and using Eskimos as a possible minority, except I suppose the costume problem was of sufficient severity not to attempt it. But it became a lukewarm, vitiated, emasculated kind of show.
You went along with it, though?
All the way. I protested. I went down fighting, as most television writers do. Thinking, in a strange, oblique, philosophical way, that better say something than nothing. In this particular show, though, by the time they had finished taking Coca-Cola bottles off the set because the sponsor claimed that this had Southern connotations, suggesting to what depth they went to make this a clean, antiseptically, rigidly acceptable show. Why, it bore no relationship at all to what we had purported to say initially.
Patty Chayefsky is talking.
Okay, so right there, he's talking about censorship. He wrote this script based on a real event that happened where I believe it was a race-based murder. It was a murder that happened from racism, essentially. So, Rod Serling, he sees this, he thinks it's an important issue, and he wants to talk about it. He wants to write a story about it. But he's censored to the point where he feels his script doesn't mean anything. Now, I want to take off my hat to Rod Serling because he says he fought for it all the way. I think that's absolutely wonderful. And something that I love about Rod Serling is that he is one of these artists that has something like, let's say, a punk rock edge to him, right? And that's sort of a artist that is going to try and push something. They aren't going to just kneel down to the studio and be like, okay, I'll make whatever you want. He seems to be actually invested in the ideologies of his stories. And I can imagine it was so hard to tell good stories through the Twilight Zone when censorship was so big. So hats off to Rod Serling, absolutely one of the greatest storytellers of all time, I believe. But the other thing I want to say in this is I'm like, how wonderful is it that we live in a post-internet time when we can actually make these stories without a large company trying to censor the stories we want to tell. And people love to cry about like censorship on YouTube, but they have something of the wrong point of view. Because look at it, we're able to actually have jobs making stuff mostly disconnected from a large company, basically making a TV show disconnected from Hollywood, right? We can do that. We have the opportunity to do that. And a lot of people can do things that would never be made in Hollywood, but will be made through YouTube. So I just think that's absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to see the creative things that individuals are going to start making on YouTube and other platforms like that. Uh, because I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing wonderful stories came completely disconnected from the normal Hollywood system. But the other thing we can do is we can brush our teeth. So don't forget to do that. Don't forget to brush your teeth.